So many athletes, I know you guys are struggling with things or saying, how do I get through these challenges? Is there someone that are facing the things that I face or have faced the things that I face? So guess what? I wanted to make sure this podcast was just for you. I'm just so excited for her. So I'm gonna come on in. I'm gonna bring it in on the stage. What's going on? How are you, love?
I'm doing well.
We're number 26 for the NCAA Division One at University of Kansas. I'm just getting started, y'all. Uh, Five-time 25K PTT champion, inducted in the Hall of Fame of University at Kansas. That right there is just, we just gonna
Thank you, Mama.
on that
Thank you.
part, like, and ranked 1,000 in singles, 750 for her doubles as a professional now, but also those that she accomplished as amazing tennis player at Kansas. Thank you so much, Queen, for your accomplishments. We thank you. Now, I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself because I just want to put that out there before we even get into the conversation. So just introduce yourself to the people that are viewing.
Yes, hi. Thank you. My name is Malika Ngounoue. I'm from DC, was born in DC, then decided to go to a little Midwest town called Lawrence for 5 years. I had an extra year because of COVID. This is my first year playing like officially professional tennis. So just getting started, and I'm trying to grow my platform not only around tennis but around mental health,
Come on.
especially about PTSD and borderline personality disorder. Because realize there's no one out there like that looks like me that has depression and anxiety are talked about a lot, but not a lot of personality disorders are talked about, which is what I got diagnosed with before I went to Kansas. Yeah, so I want that. That's me right here. I'm very goofy.
That's good. I love it. I love it. I love it that you brought that information and also presided to you guys of what you have been battling with, because that's the biggest things. We don't speak about the things that are we are challenging when battling with. People see the goofiness, they see the laughing, they see the joking, but we forget that we're still human. And especially a lot of athletes are struggling with so many different things that are going on. So starting from the beginning though, just tell me all those amazing accolades. Like, how are you feeling about those? What was this excitement that you was able to accomplish all those amazing things?
Honestly, it was a combination of multiple things. One, I lessened my schoolwork load. My last year, I went from maybe 16, 18 hours to just straight bare minimum 12 hours. Still got good grades, but it helped me to, because I always knew I wanted to play professional tennis. But the problem was I wanted to be great in every area, and it was taken away from the area that I really wanted to succeed in. So I lessened my workload, really stuck to the people in my inner circles that really, really cared about me. Went to therapy, hashtag number one. So,
Love
and
it.
all those things together just help me obtain that ranking, and also just to help me have a successful season that
Mhm.
year. It was last year that I officially finished with the University of Kansas.
Come on now. I love it. I love it. And we're gonna get to that, but I always gotta draw back what she said, hashtag number one on therapy and mental health. As you guys know, this is a platform for female athletes within the sports community where we talk about health and wellness, something that is unforgotten. And as you guys see, the biggest part of the podcast is Talkers versus Doers, because so many people talk about what we want to see within our female athletes, the greatness that they should have, but what are we doing to help them build that foundation? And building that foundation includes talking about this subject so that we're talking about now is mental health. So going that you said that those were some of the things that you found out or were diagnosed within Kansas. What led to you playing tennis? Like, where did that come from? Because I'm a snooper too, you guys. I love what I do, man. This is exciting because I see you got siblings that are also playing too as well.
Yeah.
So what led to you wanting to play tennis and be competitive within it?
This started when I was 5. Our dad all taught us how to play tennis. And as you continue to grow in tennis as the years go on, and it's very individualized, like you see less and less people, more and more people kind of drop away from it because not only is it very individualized, but it's a very tough sport mentally. Like tennis, a lot of people say tennis is 90% mental, 10% physical. So you need a great support system. I had that with my family, at least with like especially with my siblings, even though we're like 10 years apart. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I talk to them, they're my best friends, and then I stick with a very select group of people when I travel to these tournaments. And yes, most of them are black because it's a very small number of us. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that definitely helps. But the competitive spirit has always been in within me. I'm always very passionate. It's very passionate, whether that's in my relationships with people, whether that's in the when I write for school and on the court, like all the stuff I feel from the outside, it helps me just generate that on the court. And yeah, I just go in dog mode and just completely want to abolish the ball from away from
I
me.
love it. Yo, she said dog mode. Y'all know I'm a former athlete and former coach too as well, but always current in heart. So I love that you said that dog mode, like always being competitive, and again that dog mode, as I would like to say, that dual mentality. Like that dual mentality, who pushed that dual mentality out of you
Who pushed it? It's not like I don't want to give credit to the people that taught me,
though?
but it was just like I was just always, I don't know if it's because of what I went through off the court, and then I would have a lot of anger, didn't know how to deal with it, that then it brought itself on the court, and that's when like the competitiveness came out. But I was always taught to fight for every point, with my coaches, with my dad, with my coach Bob, with all the coaches that I grew up with in the DMV area. Was taught to fight. I would watch the matches, the Serena, the Sharapova, Venus,
Come on.
Nadal, like all the people, like the greats, even the older ones like Monica Seles, Steffi Graf. Uh, like reading the books about like some of the older ones, Zena Garrison, I seen a Gibson. Althea Gibson. I know I haven't. It's Althea. You know who
Yo,
I'm
you
talking.
you
Have you
you
heard of
you
that?
turn. Hey, you're spitting them out though. So let's go. You spitting them out. She
Althea.
letting y'all know that she's in her bag and studying. So I love it.
Yeah, I just always loved watching it. I'll get like goosebumps and shivers, like because of how like I could feel their passion, and that's just how I always want to emulate myself on the court. Ooh, emulate. Ooh, that sounds smart. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna
Ah, you better get it,
get
girl. Come on now, Kansas alumni. You better get it. I love that. I love that. Like you said, that part that we was gonna get to later, but I love all of that going into your circle, your environment, and that's a big part that I speak about. Is the holistic part of it that we don't talk
it.
about, of having the right social people around you. And you spoke about your family. That is amazing, And I always tell my parents, you guys can't just be the coach and the parent. You really want to pick one because you're needed there. So having that significance, having your siblings there. You talked about your coaches of just having the impact on you too. Like, how did that help you though? Just having the right social environment in addition to your dog, your dual mentality. How was that?
It there's one specific coach that I really connected with when I was 12. That unfortunately he passed away during, I think it's 2 years, and his date is coming up. His name was Coach Bob, and
Mm-hmm.
he was one of the first ones to teach me about just digging deeper, but not only digging deeper, but staying calm at the same time, like being relaxed while fighting, but like really helped me believe in myself that yes, I can do this. Yes, like you were made for this, and yes, you're worthy, not only on the court but outside of the court.
Oh, y'all, she getting all in the bag. She getting all in the bag, and she getting all into everything I was talking about. Of that, of not only on the court but off the court. Because what we do have to realize that sports is life. For me, that's what I say, and I say that because it builds the foundation of so many different things that you're going to go through in life. And if you're already competing mentally, you know that it's going to be competition when it comes out into the real world as well. So having those coaches and having those people is just amazing that you was able to do that. So for the athletes that are listening, that's one of the first points you want to take down is you have to have a great community, a social system. You have to have the right people around you, and definitely listen to your coaches. Take in what they're saying. If they're real coaches now, because
Yeah.
all coaches, some coaches are just out there, but when you find that one true coach, take that in, remember their words that they give you because coaching is a purpose driven too. I love what I do, and I know that I've touched so many lives, and I know God has me where I'm going to teach, continue to teach and touch millions. But with all that being going on, and those being one of the first tips, I heard you say with some of the things that you was battling, you took it on the core. So we want to dive into that. Of what were some of the things that you personally battled with as an individual and as an athlete too, to just kind of give them a picture frame of who you are.
Well, and I don't mind going deep into it only because I do know. Because at first it was hard for me to talk about publicly, but I do know there's someone out there, black or brown, like usually the black, because our community we don't really talk about it, you know.
Right,
Then that definitely, like, it's a marginalized group that definitely needs more mental health awareness because we were taught to be strong all the time, and if we're angry, we're aggressive, we're animalistic, all that. But I was bullied quite a bit for being dark skinned, tall, and I had before I didn't have braces, so my teeth didn't look like, socially appropriate when going to schools in like the inner cities. I also dealt with like a family member, like one of our family members, uh sexually, that abuse, that off the court when I was a kid, when I was a baby. So that also too, that affected a lot of areas. Like my anger affected my sleep, it affected my mood swings. Now, when I got on the court, I then made it my whole personality, like, because I didn't feel like I had anything else other than that. I didn't feel like I was pretty enough. I didn't definitely didn't feel I was smart enough. Didn't feel like I was worthy enough unless I won. And then that in turn continued to create even like a bigger issue as I got into my teenage years, because they can't diagnose someone with a personality disorder until you're 18, because our personalities are always changing as a teen. But there were things that definitely highlighted that there was not something chemically, it was a little chemical imbalance. I would punish myself after I lost. Um, just really, really dark thoughts when I would lose or even when I had a bad practice. And yeah, it wasn't until I got to Kansas where my coach was telling me, "You're more than a tennis player. You have worth outside the tennis court." And then I got situated with a really great therapist that later had me diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, which explained the mood swings, especially when I lost. And outside of that, I had to deal with some racism about, me being questioned if I'm a woman, because I'm taller than a lot of the people and I have a deeper register in my voice. So, and I'm dark skinned. So all that's dark skinned. Good grief, my mother's gonna dark skinned. So all that connected. And also in college, I did was, so I was sexually, and luckily the university helped me with that one. It was a
hmm
sexual assault, and it affected me again on the court. But without that support system, like you talked about again, without that support system, I don't think I would have been able to come out of it. They were really in my corner, help with, the mental health with it all. It went my way after 2 years. And with that saying said, I had coaches on my side too to help me throughout the whole process with everything. They knew everything about me. Like I was afraid that by me talking about like what I had, my diagnoses, all that stuff, that they would revoke my scholarship. They would see me as damaged goods. But they were the first ones to tell me like, nah, thank you for being honest, and we're gonna get
Wow.
you the help that you need. Yeah.
Man,
So
yo, that's a lot. First of all, I commend you. I commend you. I commend you from just being able to speak those words as you just did, because I know they're hard. Me also, that had things that happened to me, and even in my later years, even though I look 10, being in my later years of just coming out and speaking about things that happened to me in assault, it has been hard. It took a lot for me to even now be okay with saying it was okay. And I mean that for the ones of saying that it's okay for me to talk about it. It's okay for me to feel it my way. It's okay that I covered it up because I didn't know how to express and I didn't know how to deal with those things. So I commend you for that. But I also want to say, Queen, you are beautiful. You are
Thank
amazing. If you guys are not following her on Instagram, I'm gonna have that posted anyway. She is silly. She is
you.
adorable. She's gonna make you laugh. She has her own embodied soul, and I love that because you embody who you are. You know who you are, and what you spoke of transition into the confidence of the woman that you are. You will continue to be. I know from just what you just said, so many women and young girls are gonna watch this and say, "Man, I can be her. I'm gonna be great. I overcome that." So your words are powerful, honey. This
Thank
right
you.
here, I want to be able to look back at this when you sitting on the top and you talking to the professionals at these tennis championships and be like, look, I was on that podcast, with Coach Perry, and I
Oh,
said
hell
this
yeah. Big
because,
shout out.
yes, because thank you for that. I thank you, and I can definitely tell just your progress of the therapy and everything that you went to and went through to get there. And I also commend Kansas. Kansas, man, accolades to you guys for being able to say that because that's one thing. And I did an actual post that I posted in Real with one of the coaches from Bishop State. Shout out to Coach Aiden. She's amazing. Was on the podcast that she talked about it's bigger than basketball. It's bigger than the X's and O's. It's about loving. And they loved him. And I love
Yeah.
that. So many coaches are out there just for a win or a trophy that they say, oh, I can't deal with that. I'm going to push it to the side. But
Yeah.
as I'm talking to the coaches that's listening to this. What you're doing is purpose driven. If it ain't your purpose, you don't need to be doing it. Some of y'all don't even need to be coaching because there's a lot of kids, as myself, that played sports because I was getting away from things that was going on at the house. Yes, I'm getting a little sad. I'm not trying to, go into tears, but a lot of these kids are playing sports to get away from something. And if you're not equipping yourself with understanding mental health and being able to help with a kid, baby, this ain't for you right now because
Yeah.
it's deeper than that basketball. Because guess what? Some kids gonna leave that sport and never play a sport again. But the words, the love, how you make them feel is gonna last forever. So make sure that you're doing something that's purpose driven. Now
No,
back to
that's
you.
all right. I don't mind you being sentimental because I was,
Yes.
it was difficult. I just now recently, it's even hard for me to say the actual term of it, what it actually was.
Mhm.
It was, if I say it, would it be censored?
No, no.
Okay.
I think in the midst of you saying or how you say it, just if we could say in a professional manner,
No,
or
I
as
understand.
you
I,
probably
yeah.
said, sexual assault, because I don't know what YouTube or how YouTube gonna be on that standpoint. So.
Yeah. No, I understand. No, but it was like it took a while for me to actually say it without like
Mhm.
I still stutter because I still sometimes I make a little when I tell my friends like my tennis friends because we recently had a discussion about this. I'll make a little joke and then
Mhm.
like they'll catch me like, okay, no, you're hurting. It's not funny.
Yeah.
So it was rape. And then after I
Mhm.
put it out there, I had a couple of tennis players that came forward, in my DMs talking about how they never spoke about it, but they went through the same thing in college. A lot of them are women.
Wow.
And like that's when I think it was a couple years ago, it was 2020, and that's when I started to really talk more about mental health,
Mhm.
sexual assault on my platform. Like not be afraid of, the recalls of sponsors potentially,
Yeah. Yeah.
that might see it and be like, oh, okay, yeah, she has too much on her plate. I just
Mhm.
want to let
Mhm.
it be known for potential sponsors who are listening to this. I am in therapy, not just like, taking it in and not healing. I am very
Mhm.
much in therapy.
And I
So
think you're
I
saying it and just on behold of that because having the background, if it is, sponsors, and it will be sponsors because we're already speaking in existence, having a background as a psychologist and having so many accolades behind my name, it is mandatory that we speak about these things. And
yeah,
if it's a sponsor that sees this and say that I don't want to sponsor because of that, that means it's not the sponsor for you. Because your story is what make you. And if a sponsor wants you, they want you for authentically being who you are. And like you said, you speaking helped other people. It's hundreds, probably millions of young ladies. And also, we're not going to just say young ladies, men too, but because this is a woman platform, has suffered from what that and things have happened, but they still don't have that courage. So we're here on this platform for the sponsors that want it. We're on this platform to speak about it and have other young women to become free because you got to get free from it. You have to be free.
yeah,
That's why she's so great and will continue to be so great, you guys, because she's free. That's why she played hell of a bad on the court because she is free of those things that was bondage and hurting her. And you continue to grow with it and you continue. So you're going to get the right sponsors that want to sponsor you for you being free and saying that. So I don't want you ever to think about that. Okay, if I may say something because of sponsors, what's for you is for you, and can't nobody take that away. I don't care what it is or who it is. Period. That's why it's called talkers versus doers, because we're doing stuff that's supposed to be done, and we're supposed to speak about those things. We ain't just talking. We friend people. We friend
Yeah.
people, y'all. Y'all better stop playing with us. So in the midst of all that, like you said, you've gone through so many challenges. You've gone through so many storms, but you're still here. Like, what were some tangible tools that you can help the young ladies with that help you continue to persevere through all this?
I am a big advocate for DBT. DBT, and don't be, if you do get prescribed like the right type of medicine, it's okay. It's okay. Like I will say personally, I still struggle with that. But okay, so let me DBT is called dialectical behavioral therapy. And
Hmm.
it's basically teaching you skills on how to handle the intensity of your emotions, interpersonal and effectiveness. All the areas is not only for people with personality disorders. It's used for people with ADHD or depression or anxiety, either one and it truly has helped rewire my brain into seeing, or at least reduce the intensity of my emotions, because that's the problem. I go from 0 to 100 too quickly. There's no in the middle, too much black and white thinking and splitting and idealization and seeing people just it's a lot of areas, and a lot of times it's internalized because in this sport it's mostly a lot of white people, a lot of proper prim and proper. I do unfortunately have to like hide it, still talk about it, but when the symptoms come up, it's mostly I'm dealing with it in the comfort of my room or
Okay.
until I see my therapist for the next week because,
Okay.
because you're the fear of looking,
Hmm.
crazy or whatever, not a lot of sympathy. For now I will say there's a lot of growth with mental health and like people are I when I would have an episode or two at a tournament, there would be a medical person there that understands personality disorders, that understands how to deal with it, not just, brush it off and, call names or whatever, like how it used to be maybe 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah. So would you say that it is speaking to that athlete okay to actually express your emotions and
Yeah.
talk about what you're dealing with?
No, very much so. I would say find someone, find like befriend, like don't be cold to the world.
Hmm.
I'm very much I know some people when I would get hurt, I would feel the intensity of the emotions a lot and I would be advised like, okay, withdraw, be cold, da 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 da. But I think the world needs more warmth. We need more people in our circle. We're social animals. So like I would say for any women in sports or even outside of sports, find your social animals and don't be afraid to open up to them. I was afraid to open up to my doubles partner a week ago, and I finally did, and it brought us even closer. Like,
Wow.
yeah, definitely.
So how did that go? They kind of just give a little bit like how, I guess, why did you open up to her, and then how did it go? Like, what made you want to say? Because this is a part for like some of the kids that are on teams and are struggling. It's like, I don't want to tell my teammates that I'm going through this. I don't know how to speak to them. So, what was your reason, and then how did it go when you actually spoke to her?
How did it go? Okay, so my reason was she being my doubles. We've been friends, really close for about a year since traveling with each other, and she's very observant. She could tell whenever I would have my ticks. Like either when I get really mad, I stay very quiet, or my hands start shaking a little bit, or my like when I'm about to have something about to happen. The episodes now are very rare, but when I get really angry, I just kind of shut down, stay quiet, and rationalize in my head because I'm afraid of putting it out on people. So I internalize it within
Mm,
myself. So she recognized that and asked certain questions. And the more we talked, the more I yapped and blurted because I usually blurt. If you pressure me a little bit, I blurt a lot of
mhm.
things. You pressure me and you give me the aura that I can trust you. And I I also had to believe that even if she would use that information against me, which she doesn't, and she's become very close and we're really close best friends.
I
But
love it.
even if I had to accept that even if she would use it against me, doesn't mean that I'm stupid. It doesn't mean that
Mhm.
I should never trust again because that takes the responsibility off of the person that I trusted with that information. Like that's something I had to teach myself like a while ago, to remove that responsibility. Like, no, like I'm not stupid for opening up to this person. If they hurt me back, I'm just gonna still be warm and stuff, because I realize I cannot be cold. And like I said before, the world needs more warmth. And there's gonna be someone out there that's gonna be in your corner, you know.
I love it. The world need more warmth. I love it. So, what was her response to you? How did she engage with you after you told her those things?
She stayed very calm, kind of soft spoken, and reminding me that she's here for me, and then that helped her to open up as well. And
That,
so me, her, and then there's another girl that came into the room. We were roommates. We all kind of sat in a circle and just really started talking. Three different girls from three different backgrounds just started talking, opening up once one person opened up, and it just opened the floor. And I think now, I just think a lot of people want to be vulnerable. There's not a lot of psychopaths and narcissists in the world. I
mm-hmm,
think that term is like, I think there's a lot of people that want to be vulnerable, but it just starts with one.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, it's a psychology. I forgot what psychology term it's called, but it's like a group thing where if you see, like, there's a whole bunch of people. Let's say there's someone that needs like help in the street. No one is If there's a bunch of people around you, no one's gonna do anything because they assume the other person's gonna do it. So I think
right.
low key we're all waiting for someone in our
For
friend group to
someone to
open up.
speak up or talk,
Yeah,
yes. Someone to open up, and sometimes it's like for certain things, we don't want to be the first one. Like,
yeah,
I want to be the first one to score more points, but I don't want to be the first one to lose. I want to
yeah,
be the first one to say I succeeded, but I don't want to be the first one that everybody talk about and bully. So, as you said, it's those things of how we want someone else to be able to say it happened to me too. But what I love what you said too is about there has to be rooms, as we've been talking about, to make people feel comfortable and okay to talk about that. And that
yeah,
goes another thing to the athletes of it's okay to talk to your teammates. It's okay to express to your teammates. And to my coaches, sometimes we can't just overwhelm and just think that kid has a problem going on at home or they're just disobedient. That's why they're shutting down because you said you shut down and you internalize things. And
yeah,
as a former coach, that what made me so great was first of all, I struggled with so many different mental issues and things going on as a player, as a adult, and as a coach, and then start realizing that even though I was the helper, I needed help. And so
yes,
I had to start getting therapy and going through those trainings because it was like I love people so much and I want to help everybody, but I wasn't pouring back into me. And so I would watch other students and also in my field of work of noticing that as a coach that just because that kid is not talking does not mean that they don't hear you. Some of them are internalizing as you was going through a lot of things. You had a
yeah,
disorder going on and you didn't know how to express yourself. So you get those coaches, oh, you're not gonna talk, you're not gonna speak. You probably really don't want them to speak right now. You
yeah,
don't want them to say nothing. The biggest thing is to pull them to the side and say what's really going on. And another thing, coaches, it's not going to happen overnight. You making them run harder is not going to help that. You
yeah,
constantly hollering at them is not going to help that. What's going to help is you loving on them. What's going to help is actually being in their corner and continue to work with them because you see the dire need and the value in them. So that is so important that you said that of just saying, okay, I talked about it. She embraced you. She took you in. We need more teammates. Athletes, we need more of you. Shout out to your teammate. Tell her I love her. Thank her for doing that and pushing that out of you to be able to do it. And the next question I would like to ask you is we talked about it a little bit, but why really female athletes don't talk about what you say mental health? Like, why is it? Because stats already shows that we have over 29% of female athletes that are struggling with some form of mental health depression or something compared to 11% of males, according to NCAA study. So why would you say possibly female athletes don't speak about the issues?
I will say personally for me, because I know that society already sees women as like these frail, like creatures. This like they put these social norms on them being frail, too sensitive to this or that. Now, when it comes to
Mm,
sports, I feel like, well, thankfully, we're now getting a lot of coverage in women's sports. But I
yes.
think before, thinking that maybe we're not going to be taken as seriously if we show that we're too vulnerable, then that we see that as equating as too weak, and then now we're not we're like, Now we're setting ourselves back when we're trying to compete with with our male counterparts who are getting twice, three times, four times the coverage, all the sponsors and all that stuff. I can say that for myself. That was the reason. And I feel like that is also partly, I would say, maybe a big opinion. I don't know, I have to go back so it can be a fact and look at but I think
Okay.
that that might be a big reason as to why. We have
Yeah.
to, yeah, to be the fear, like we overly mask our true emotions so that we're not called too sensitive and all that nonsense. Like, it's ha-
Yo, but like I said, we overly mass. That right there is just a bar of what you said because it is. And unfortunately, as women and humans in general, we all wear masks. We wear certain different masks in so many different areas. But if we, like you said, display too many of those emotional masks, then we that angry black woman or we that angry
yeah.
woman on it. So most definitely with that part on there. And as you guys are watching this, please dial in, comment, put your thoughts in there, female athletes, coaches, your thoughts, your information, because
There's
the thing
comment.
is, yes, they will be able to comment on it on YouTube.
Oh, I'm
On
sorry.
YouTube, it's like, look, I'm like, wait a minute, what are you? Like, so yes, they're gonna be there, but I want them, please, please, when you see this video drop, hit your comments, hit your thoughts, give us information, give us feedback. We will be looking at it. As you know, I'm in the comments. I'm going to make sure I'll be sharing also with her so she can dial in on those comments and topics as well, because we want to make Talkers First Doers just that a platform to talk about these social issues within female sports. We want to bring awareness. We want more women talking about this so we can make that safe environment, but also we can empower each other to continue to build as it relates to that. So it is so needed, you guys. And as that is needed also, I want to transition a little bit of you've been traveling too. You've been traveling a lot, I see. So with all the accolades, now you're doing some traveling, you're going. So tell us about what's going on with your traveling. What are you currently doing? What are you currently accomplishing?
Well, right now, I am currently I was in San Domingo. That one's, you're gonna have to, I was in San
Yo.
Domingo for 2 weeks. It was a very interesting tournament. A lot of lessons learned, mostly how to run a tournament, but I don't want to
Mhm.
sound silly. But it was there was it was just a conversation that was brought up with me and a couple of the other girls there. It's just how, and those we're playing like low level ITFs, International Tennis Federation tournaments. It's all professional. Whenever we win, we earn money and points so that we can get into the bigger level ones and earn even
Mhm.
more money. But the problem is that at those tournaments, there's not a lot of money like diluted. I don't know what the word
Mhm.
is to for accommodation, free accommodation, anyways. Better
And I
housing,
think
better
still a big
rides.
part within women's sports in general.
Yeah.
Like you said, of just having those funds.
Yes. And it's because we talked about how in the men's side, when you have a certain ranking already, you already given a chance to play in the top level, high level professional events. You're not supposed to be playing in like the low level ones. However, a lot of the girls
Mm-hmm.
who are top level are playing in the lower level ones because they're not able to get into the top 1000 level WTA. And
Wow.
also comparing it to the men's side, they get free housing, they get free rides, they get a lot more free stuff than the WTA women.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're playing in these places, and it was just very interesting.
Still
I'm trying
more
to
work,
be
a lot more.
politically
Yeah, yeah.
correct so that
I
they do
understand.
not bar me from playing those
No,
tournaments
no, no,
again.
no. We want you to continue to grow. I think anything that you do, that was a big thing too. Always going back to being a coach. When we had tournaments, some of our kids and parents would be like, "Coach, why are we playing in these tournaments?" I always say, look at everything as a growth because, like you said, you learned. That was the thing. It's something that you need to learn. Even though we've reached a peak in our life, it's always more development that we can go. And God would sometimes put us in certain areas so we can develop, we can grow, we can learn, and we can review and overview what's going on. So definitely it's growth, and no matter how much money you're transitioning it to something better for yourself,
Yeah.
you're raising your platform and you're showing it. So it's continued growth, but also with continued growth, we're saying that okay, you guys, you have to do more for the women as well. It's just priority. And I think though, with everything going on, it's going to continue to grow. More sports are getting noticed. Still not enough. I don't care what people say. Women's sports have been dominating and been doing their things since the 1900s. On if you go all the way back to Billie Jean, or thank her for doing what she did to stand for women's sports. So that has been an array with women's sports where women have actually played against
Yeah.
men and beat men in sports, which one on was tennis. Come on now. I know that
You-
history.
Yeah,
So
I know
it's
that
been
one.
going,
Yeah,
yeah.
you did
So
your
it's been
fact
going
check.
on. Come on, check, check, check. So we've been doing those things, so it's needed. So like you said, of that traveling, but I love too because we also had where you travel to other places, and I love this picture because this was an amazing picture that you had too, where you was out there also in Cancun. So shout out to you. You are traveling, you're getting out there, you're going within the world, and you're living a dream. And for those young girls that are thinking or have crossed their mind that are playing tennis and know about the adversities that are going on in tennis, like what you would like to tell them, like that made you say, you know what, I'm going to continue going, you'll continue going, because some of them are going to listen to this and like, no, that's why I don't want to play, or I know, that certain federation are doing that, but what are some of the inspiring words you want to tell them that like to keep going?
For me, I usually take it day by day. Two, I realized in my third year that even though I love being on it, I did embrace the teamwork. I realized that I love like playing matches. In order to really, because it's a grind in the beginning, and you might be failing one, two, three, years, but the one thing that will continue and help you to grow and help you to be successful in this sport, besides money, is is
We
just
need
like,
that.
oh yeah, no, definitely. Um, you have to love to play matches because it's just matches. You have to love to play matches day in, day out, even when you don't want to. For me, I love playing matches more than I love like practice. Like that's my passion. I can honestly see myself just playing matches for the rest of my life. That's one, two. Just really embracing that you're gonna lose more. I had to learn that the hard way. You're gonna lose way more in tennis professionally then you
Hmm.
win, but you still can make it, even if you lose more. You just have to be committed to like the first year of the suck, a couple months or a year to the sucky part,
I
but
love
it's
it.
yeah, but you have to fall in love with the grind. Cause right now, like I'm staying at a Super 8. I'm not staying at no Hilton. But but like I don't mind it because I know like,
But look,
okay, I've
she's saying that she's not staying at the Hilton yet. So we're gonna put a yet on the end. She's at the Super 8
not
now,
staying at the
but she's
Hilton
not
yet.
staying there yet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because everything is a journey. So she getting
Hmm.
there. She's getting there because you're putting the work in now. You're putting in the draining, the challenges now. You're putting in the hard time now. You're not giving up. You're continuing to go. So she's there now. But the biggest thing, you got the door mentality. Like you're doing it. Like ain't nobody stopping you though. You are actually doing it. So we want to make sure, because I as sisters we gotta make sure we're pointing at each other and we're affirming each other
Of
on
course.
that,
Thank you.
because I see one of the biggest things too that you love music, you love dancing. So has that been also a big part? Again, you guys gonna check out her Instagram. I see that you really go in on that. So is that like a self care or release for you?
It's definitely a release. Also, if we want to play professional tennis, like with the rise of social media, with the rise of the movie challengers, which is really great for the ITF circuit, especially for the women's side. Um, darn, I forgot where I was going with this. Okay, give me a second. Let me.
Social media,
Oh yeah,
social
yeah.
media.
So social media, it definitely like it helps in finding sponsors and finding agents. Just putting yourself out there day in, day out. And it is a
Mhm.
release. At first, like I started dancing when I was 15. I was dancing on the street while walking to school with my headphones in. I learned how to dance when I was 15. And then as I grew, it did become like first it was self-care. And then second, I realized, knock on wood, it helped with my body on court and not getting serious like injuries because I move crazily on court. I have to bend and look like an octopus sliding and all that stuff on the court.
Yes.
But like for my height, I luckily haven't had because I dance a lot. I I dance a lot. And by putting I think football players are advised to do dancing too. Like because it helps them. It helps with agility. It helps that, you repeatedly put your body in weird ways
Hmm.
it's not gonna hurt. And then when you do your running thing, when you go on the court, you replicate even something worse than that and then you're completely fine. You're not
I guess
stiff like a
that's why we
board.
talk about those TikToks. So, coaches, I know you guys get mad because I used to get mad about it. Maybe we gonna. It's okay to have the TikToks. We probably implement part of that within the practice because she said the dancing helps. So we want to say TikTok is okay
It definitely
with the
helps.
dancing.
Yes. To be loose on court, to be bouncy on court, my game revolves around me being bouncy and just being loose. If you're tight playing, that's when your injuries come. That's when mistakes come. But if you're loose, you're singing a song and you're a little, shaking your hips, Shakira, Shakira, like, you're gonna
Look, she
it
ready,
helps in the
Shakira.
long term,
Yes.
yeah. Cause I'm tall, I'm 6'3". Like I
Yeah.
only had one serious one when I was
Mhm.
14. And then I did my rehab and all that stuff, which is also important. Pre-rehab, do the ice baths. I do ice baths almost every day when I have the chance. It definitely helps. You may
Yeah.
feel like it doesn't, but if you're fine after a year or a couple months and you're feeling fine and not sore as often as you would have been, if you weren't doing ice bath, then yeah, it's working. Definitely. That's like number two. On top is therapy, sport, whatever, whichever you can afford it. Two is prehab. It's so important. Please highlight.
I love it. I love it. See, she has been bringing you guys the bag and gems on so many different things on this podcast. I hope y'all kept up with it because I'm going to go back and relook at it and take those tips that just bring you guys to staying active.
Yeah.
What are the things that you can do to, in spite of all the challenges that's going on, you're still smiling, you're still going on about it. So I love that. Like I said in the beginning, I love that about you because I know it was just for me posting on social media and we connected and you seen it would comment on things. So I thank you because even with me in the field of what I'm doing to bring awareness, I still get down on myself because I feel like I'm not doing enough. But I know I just got to continue on this journey because our voices need to be heard. Like some of the things that I've said and we've commented on social media that help you has been a blessing. What you're going to say to young girls and women is going to be a blessing. So we have to be able to spread our story, spread our words to somebody and know even if it's just one person, we've done and we're doing what we're supposed to do. So, thank you for that. And with all that gems, like we're gonna have to bring you back on to talk about some more stuff because I know as you continue growing this as a professional, things are going to get more challenging, but challenging is learning, as we said, and learning only makes you better because if you're not learning, then you're not developing. And we want
Yeah.
to continue to develop to reach to that next level. So we have to make sure of that. And one thing that I want to do is just start it on today with you is every time before a guest leave is for you just to tell us about one person or mentor that can be a sports player, someone you've looked up to or watch, and why they are so significant to you as it relates to you as a person and relates to your mental health, and kind of get us that information.
Well, it's a person I brought up earlier who's not with us, unfortunately, but his name was Coach Bob, Bob Pass. And he, even when he had cancer and stuff, he would still come up from Virginia to Kansas, and would come and try to coach me, watch one of my matches, and he took me out to movies and just was like a father to me. When I was struggling the most as a teenager, he was there telling me to just be loosey goosey and like just reminded me that he did love me, and then just he it's the little things, like he would take me to my metro station after practice, let me
I
practice
love
there
it.
for free at the Bob Pass Academy, and it's in Virginia, so it's bougie. It's
Mm-hmm.
expensive to
Come on now.
so
See?
yeah, he took me in, and like unfortunately passed like what 2021 due to complications of COVID and then pneumonia. So but before then he was so proud of me. His daughter told me that he absolutely adored me and he loved me
Oh,
unconditionally. I'm just glad that I was able to experience that, what that felt like before he, unfortunately left. But that's the one person that will say that will forever have my heart, that
mhm.
I'll forever look up to, and that I'll
I
forever
love
love.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for being that mentor and that coach in your absence, but never gone or forgotten. So we want to thank you for that, coach. And I wanted to do that because I think we all need to give people their flowers while they're here, whether
Yes.
they are someone close to us or someone that we just looked up to, a mentor. We want to make sure we're giving those flowers and we're letting people know that they are making a difference in our life. And last but not least, though, just tell the people about what you got going on, your platform, what you're doing, where they can follow you, all those great things. Just let them know about who you are, what you're doing.
Well, what I'm doing right now, I'm supposed to be playing tomorrow. I'm playing doubles at the 75K in South Carolina. It's a
Oh,
WTA
wow.
tournament. And right now, if you want to follow me on my TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff is ridicowless. And why is that? It's a cow in the middle. I love it. I thought it was the greatest thing I've ever made because I dance in my cow onesie. So it's like ridiculous with a
Mhm.
cow in the middle. And this happened when NIL started. At first, I was trying to be all business, macho, Malika Ngounoue. Okay. No, it didn't fit me. But I was like, okay, what is something that gives a little pizzazz to it that I feel is me? And that's ridiculous. And yeah, I'm not giving no one that username ever.
And I'm glad you said that because I kind of was like, why she has this? I'm glad you got that on there because y'all, I do research. I had notes and everything because I was like, why does she have that? So I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Ridiculous, right?
Yeah, ridiculous, but with the cow in the middle. Yeah.
Great, great, great. So sponsors again, y'all here. Do some more count stuff. We're gonna get out there. Our girl need money. She want to continue to build that platform as well. And also, I know you spoke too, but you are building or have a platform. I guess it's on your platform. You talk about mental health too, as well. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I talk about specifically just having ADHD, the having PT, like having BPD, all those areas while playing. Because in tennis, no one talks about that. We talk about depression and anxiety, maybe, but no one is talking about having a personality disorder, like or anything. And I'm pretty sure there's people out there that have it, definitely, but
Mm-hmm.
we're all afraid of the same thing. So that's why I just decided to talk about it, decided to just, post about it, mostly on my story. Whenever I see a post, I better ever posting it because it's hard for me
Yeah.
to, since I don't have psychiatrist, I don't want to feel like I'm spreading false information. But when I resonate with something, I post it and then I hope that other people can resonate it too and see and talk about it. So yes. What was your question
I
again?
love it. No, no, no. You hit it on the top. That was
Okay.
the question of what you're doing because I just wanted again people to know more about what you're doing and why you're doing. You guys have already got that in the beginning, but to make sure people are following you, especially for that individuals that's going to catch this and say, "Hey, I have that personality disorder." Oh, she speaks about it. It's in her stories because again, the more we bring awareness, the more people feel comfortable and empowered about speaking about those things. So we want to make sure I know that was said the last one, but as we end this, would you say that there need to be more talks like this in additional platforms that bring out this information? And yes, this is a little bit to just pat me on the back because I want to do more of it. So would you say that this was something that was good for you and also needs to be more of it?
Oh no, for sure, definitely. It was good for me to once again talk about it on a platform like this. Thank you for having me. Glad to be here. And also, we definitely need to have more talks about this, especially starting with like younger ones in middle school, high school. I'm pretty
Mm,
damn sure a lot of them probably, we can't diagnose them with a personality disorder, but they're definitely struggling with like something. A lot of the times, like we don't know it. It may present themselves as just moodiness or just like typical teenage things, but trust me, sometimes, a lot of times, it's a little deeper than that, especially if you look at the percentages of suicide. I mean, they don't lie. So I'm just being honest.
you are right about that. Well, again, I thank you, Queen. I thank you, beautiful. I thank you for taking your time out on this platform and with me. I definitely will be seeing you again on here. It's a must that you come back on here because people need to continue to hear more of your words. But you guys know what it is. As always, this is your girl, Coach Perry. And don't just talk about change. Be a doer of change. Why? Because you deserve it. Y'all have a good one.